Raging diecast. We're living the dream. Tiny cars, but the part of the team. Reviews, releases, exclusive news. Raging diecast is breaking the news.
What's going on, everybody? Raging Diecast here with another banger podcast. This one was a long time in the making, through hoops and power outages and locked phones and everything else, but we are here, and I can tell you I am beyond excited. Good friend of mine, well, has become a friend of mine, and kind of inventor or entrepreneur or whatever you want to call him. It's Kurt with NVRLand or NVRLabs, NVRLand Collectibles. Kurt, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Jacob, Raging Banger. I appreciate you working through the technical difficulties of a power outage and some locked phones, and I think about 6 months in the making, but I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
And on top of all that, you're extremely busy because there is a Greenlight Collectibles show coming up, which you are preparing for. So, one, tell us about the show that's coming up, and then two, tell us how you're involved, because I think there's some type of Greenlight partnership going on, and let's just dive right into it.
Yeah, sure. So it's the first annual Greenlight Expo. It's the Walterson Greenlight Expo is taking place the 8th and the 9th of August this year, coming up. And it's a little bit different than your typical collector's show. What they're doing is setting up really a showcase for their new products for 2025 and 2026. And what they're doing is they're inviting collectors out to a dinner on the 8th, and Vincent and the Greenlight team are going to showcase what they've been working on. I want to say there's something like 46 new toolings and castings and everything that they've come out with that the public hasn't seen yet. Those are getting to be released 2025 and 2026. Saturday it's a collectible show. All brands are going to be there. There's a whole bunch of vendors, just like your typical kind of one-day convention toy show. So that's going to be fun. And we had a chance to jump in and kind of support them with some alternative versions of their castings for the show. So we did very small run pieces, 192 on the pieces. We did the hydrochrome with a couple of collaborations. Our good buddy Anthony Rock Kicker did 3 of the designs. We collaborated. It was a really, really cool natural process. We found out we had about 4 days to get all the designs done, 6 designs. So I picked 3 of them, and he and I, we've never talked on the phone prior to this, and we just did this like joint collaboration Illustrator design session, and it was probably the quickest and the most creative session that he and I agree have both put in on just sending messages over iMessenger of text messages, screenshots, and things that we were working on, and it just came together so naturally. And it turns out that he's from Connecticut, I'm from Connecticut, he still lives there. Another buddy of ours, Donnie, went to the same high school as I did, so there's this whole Connecticut 860203 collaboration that's coming in, and it was just really cool. So when Greenlight gave us the opportunity to basically jump in as a sister car, is what we're calling them. They have their convention cars, they're beautiful. We just took a smaller run of those, and we gave them the NVRLand treatment, some really cool designs, and just some stuff that Greenlight typically wouldn't do with some of the hydrochromes and some of the funky designs and some of the artist collab and artwork around it. So that's what's going on with Greenlight. It's been a lot of work, a lot of late nights, but we're definitely there. The cars are on their way here now, and we had a little pre-sale action, and we did really well on that. And we're excited to get up there and meet new collectors and show them what NVRLand is about.
Yeah, I obviously messaged you. I was like, how do I get one? Because obviously I like you. I like Rock Kicker.
Yeah.
Rock Kicker's no stranger to the show. He was in a diorama build-off with a crazy piece he made. So I was like, I got to get at least a piece to support the boys.
Appreciate it.
So it's super cool. So awesome that you're doing the show. Awesome that that went the way it did. How did you tell us about how you kind of got in with Greenlight? Because you did some of the designs for the Vegas cars, where I met you.
Yep.
2025. So how did that I don't even know what you would call it. You can tell us what you would call it.
Yeah, about 5 years ago, we were looking for an unrelated project. We're first and foremost a technology company that has designed some really cool technology that found its way into Diecast Collectibles for verification. During that path, we've just found a love for the space. I'm a graphic designer by trade. I'm a marketer. I come from the music space, so I do see a lot of parallels with trying to break a brand and basically being authentic to who you are as a brand and not trying to fit into a box that everybody wants you to be in. We have enough of those products out there. I don't want to be a me too. We did it too. Me too. I did it. I did it. I don't want to be that product. I want to be something that we design and develop, and then our tribe falls in love with it and then buys in and supports to the authenticity of what we're doing from a design standpoint and from the vision that we see that we want to take the designs in the space for us. So we're not looking, it'd be great, bring over 50, 60, 100,000 people. The goal of Neverland was never to do that. It was to have a small niche boutique, almost like a Supreme, almost like something that becomes so organic because it starts from within the space and spreads out, as opposed to just trying to go after 50,000 people and say, hey, we did a red Camaro, check it out. We want to do a hydrochrome, one time only mixed pink Camaro with a rock kicker design on it that's only going to be seen 192 times. So our approach is very different. We're a very boutique line, and the technology in the cars, for the listeners that don't know what we do, is every car has a QR code or an NFC chip. You hold your phone up to it and it mints a digital collectible. Think of it as a digital title for your car. Why that was important is because if we tell you we're going to make 192 pieces, we don't want it to end up on, an app like Temu and show that there's 5,000 of them out there that have a similar design that came from the same factory that you can't verify. So we're not trying to do 10,000 pieces, 50,000 pieces mass run. That was never our business plan. We're keeping it small and boutique. So I met a guy named Will, who was at the time one of the sales reps at Greenlight. We were doing a project for something in Miami called Supercars Miami, and they were looking for a small diecast. And I just started dialing for dollars on the internet. We just came across him 5 years ago. So the conversation just kept going, and then they were doing more like promotional items, and kind of the stuff that was in store really wasn't up to where it really needed to be. I think that at the time, Greenlight was in a transition, if I'm not mistaken. Vincent, the new owner, wasn't there. And so there was just kind of like the common Greenlight stuff that you would see. And we got some samples back, and we're like, we're just going to hold off and try to kind of like wait till they figure out what they're doing. And so we've known about Greenlight for about 5 or 6 years. And then it just so happened that we had a couple runs done overseas, and we did have a small issue with one of the manufacturers. I had about 18 or 20 pieces left over, and she offered them to her sales, people on her sales whatnot channel, WhatsApp, and it got back to us that she was selling our product that wasn't verified. It didn't have the chip in it, didn't have the boxes. All of our boxes are done in the United States. None of that was there. So it just gave a case proof to what we're doing, to say, hey, if we're going to give you 300, there's not going to be 18 of them that are left over that someone's getting offered without the box, without everything else. We did this one time, so it really solidified everything. So we started to dive in, like, if we're going to stay in this diecast space, we have to find a manufacturer that is really the factory. You can't just be like calling someone up and saying we need 300 cars done, which very rarely will they do because it's too low of an MOQ. But what we found with Vincent, getting to know him for the past 2 years, is he and I are very like-minded in the sense where it just feels like a natural fit from the point of going into production to getting them here, then putting the final touches on. And there's never any leakage or lunchbox cars or stuff going out of the back of the factory. And once we get it here on those small runs, we then physically tag them. Every single one of those Neverland pieces is touched here, final in the United States. Quality control if something's not right, and we don't do much on the overage. It's like, if we're going to do 100, let's say 192 pieces, there might be maybe 208 pieces that get sent here. So the ones that never get sent, never get put out there. We never tag them. We never do anything with them because those are ones that aren't part of the blockchain verification. So it felt like a good fit because of the fact that they own the factory and they own the manufacturing. So I'll literally get a FaceTime call while they're in the factory showing me a sample of a paint color, asking me, is this too pink or is this too purple? How do we adjust it? And I'll literally pull out the Pantone book and be like, let's try Pantone, 6215. And then they'll come back 2 days later. I haven't been able yet to find that working relationship with another vendor, just because it doesn't really exist. They're used to putting out 10,000 pieces, 5,000 pieces. So no one's going to jump through hoops for 200 pieces. So it just felt like the visions aligned, and that's the long story, but that's how I met him, was just through a random cold call trying to find a vendor to do something. And we just became, buddies since. It's just been, I think he saw some of the designs and was like, this is really cool stuff. Who are these guys? Kind of heard about us here and there. and then it ended up, taking off from there.
Yeah, so you said a lot, and there's a lot I want to talk about. I think it was the Jelly Bean car. That was like a Neverland design, right?
Yeah, so what happened is a guy over so it's a Jelly Bean Banger. It was our first resin car. There was a guy over in, I want to say it was Indonesia, and he was hand making these. And he had done a similar run, except I think we carved out the back and we did something else to make it a little bit more exclusive to us. So those were handmade for Vegas 2 years ago. And so it's actually an important part that we got to do the weave. We got to get back into this. 2 years ago, the majority of our stuff was all customs. We didn't go production pieces because we needed to do, 1 to 25 pieces. So we literally kind of conceptualized everything here, stripped down the cars, made them customs, did cool things with the digital art, and then sold them for quite a bit of money. And then we're like, well, look, this is great, but I would love to get an offering that's like 50 or 60 bucks so we could get that next tier of collectors in, because Neverland's, a lot of people love it and they go, well, I don't have $300 for a car. I get it. We don't set the price. We hear what the people want to pay. As you know, our Whatnot streams, they start at $1. We're not going out there saying this is a $5,000 piece. Like, pay what you want to pay. We always say that. So the Jelly Bean Banger was really interesting. It was a little resin, half Volkswagen Beetle, half, was it a Combi, I guess it was? Yeah, it was half Combi, half Volkswagen Beetle. And it just felt right. The name, I looked at it and it looked like a jelly bean. So we came up with characters for all of them. And then I was like, look, these are beautiful. So the packaging has to be equally as beautiful for the chase. So I don't know if you saw the chase packaging, but we did all the form plastic molding here. We made all the jigs. I mean, that was a labor of love. The front of it looked like a plastic clamshell of a candy jar that had the Scummy Bear head on it, and then the car was showcased inside, beautiful, on like the top of a jelly bean canister. So all of that stuff is done here, and it takes forever, as customizers know, but it's having the right equipment. We're fortunate enough to have all the printers, and we ordered up a brand new UV printer that'll be here in about 2 weeks, so that's going to elevate the customs in the game up. That actually prints right on the cars, so we won't be decaling anymore here on the customs. They'll all be put through the UV, and so we're going to be able to really outreach kind of the brains and the ideas of what we're going to do. That's kind of like the winded version of the Jelly Bean Banger. That was a handmade, I would call it a custom run, not really a production. I want to say there was like 50 something total, and that did very well. That was 2 years ago, and we kind of set the standard of what we wanted to do for customization from that drop, really.
So I know there's something that you were really excited to talk about, and that was kind of the design process, and that's something that I'm real excited to talk about. Can you walk us through the design process and kind of what that looks like, and just the
So
whole enchilada?
yeah, it's wild, right? Because I've never collected diecast, and I'm not familiar with the space in the traditional way of knowing what things are supposed to look like, which hurts and helps. I don't know that, for example, Hot Wheels puts a car facing a certain way on the package, right? Like, that's foreign to me because I'm left-handed. So when I look at things, my brain does flips with stuff, where most people, I think, 90 something percent of the world, or whatever it is right-handed. It might even be more. Someone will fact check me, I'm sure. But we tend to look at things as a left-handed designer with the way that it's comfortable for us. And believe it or not, sometimes it's very uncomfortable for you. But sometimes that bit of uncomfortableness draws you into it and makes you want to learn more. So a lot of the things that I do are backwards for many people. And they'll look at it and they'll say, well, why does this happen? Why does that happen? And for me, it's just natural, right? And then it kind of plays to my benefit that I don't know a lot of the history. I know enough history of Hot Wheels and some of these other brands, but I don't know enough to let it alter or have a major influence of what I'm trying to design. I think that's been one of my biggest successes, because I don't get pigeonholed into trying to make something look like something else. Everything that I put on there is just, hey, wouldn't it be cool if this happened? Or I'll be driving by, and I live in Florida. There's a lot of colors in the sunset. There's a lot of things happening here all the time. I get inspiration from stuff that's around me. People I see walking in the streets, cars that drive by. Very fortunate to have nice weather year round. So we do see a lot of nice cars and different wraps and just things that kind of play into the design factor, where you don't think about an average person unless you're into that design mind. So my inspiration comes from all sorts of weird places. And I'll wake up in the middle of the night and literally have a pad and start jotting down an idea or a colorway or something that shouldn't go together. And that's really why I love it the most, is just pushing the boundaries of, like, I didn't know like pink was like a really cool pink beach bomb thing. Like I didn't know that was a hydrochrome until I saw a YouTube video on it. And I was like, oh, cool. Well, look, I designed something pink and it's a Porsche and it's hydrochrome. And I didn't even know what the word hydrochrome meant. True story. This was an accident. I don't know if I have it here. One of the colors for our first drop with the pandas and the apes was a Porsche. And there's a program called Blender. And when we were doing the renders to send to the manufacturer at the time, they wanted colors to see what they look like. Well, there's a process called Eevee and a process called Cycles inside of Blender. Eevee is it's a very quick render, doesn't use a lot of resources, but the detail is really lacking. So when we rendered it out, I don't know why, but it was in Eevee. So the texture that it gave it was very chrome-like, and it was very gooey and glossy and hydrochromy, which didn't even know was a word. So we sent it to the manufacturer thinking it was going to be Pantone orange, and they showed up here and they were these gorgeous chrome colors. And I called the manufacturer and I said, so I'm not going to complain. I'm like, but that's not Pantone orange 521. And she was like, well, no, that's what you gave us in the render. We made it look exactly like the render. And I was like, well, I'm not hating on it. I'm like, but I didn't even know that was a thing. So when we got the purple for the Fast Eddie, we got the Viper in the pit, which was the orange and the green. It was just like a whole new world for me. Like, wait a minute, they could put chrome underneath and then they can put a translucent paint and they can make it look like, a hydrochrome. So a lot of these things happen by accident, happy art mistakes, as we call them. And then it kind of became our staple. We're like, well, look, it's a high-end feel. Naturally, it's more expensive to do. It's a longer process. And, I think it kind of worked out well for us. So that's the long-winded design approach, but it comes from a lot of places. Like I said, I was in the music industry for almost 15 years. There's a lot of stuff that I've taken from my marketing to kind of infuse it into the way we're looking at this as a brand. I mean, Neverland is really like a little baby artist who's playing at tiny nightclubs right now trying to get people to notice them, but I don't think I would do it any other way. It's we're getting the right people in here, we're getting the right people that love the product and the right people that are sharing the product because it becomes their passion too. So that's the design process.
So kind of weaving back to Greenlight, obviously, and I think you can probably go to my second podcast and how I was talking about how, like, right now I don't feel like they're doing it. It's just like I believe in them. They're in stores. They got a lot of things going, but a lot of collectors are walking by it. And I give my thoughts on that. One of the things is like green wheels on a car, like that's the chase. Like, well, okay.
Yeah.
It actually kind of makes it uglier.
Yeah.
But since now, I don't know if this is because of your partnership, maybe you can shed some light on it. But one, they've stepped up their casting game. The Datsun that was at the Vegas was a sick casting.
Yep. I have that in the other room. Yep.
And then we're seeing them do green hydrochrome chases. We're seeing them do raw chases. And I think those are all things that collectors are liking to see. I see people posting green light chases now, whereas sometimes you would see them like in store multiple weeks because it's like everyone's passing it up. But it really seems like something has shifted at Greenlight for the better. And like I said, if they start getting into the JDM, the Euro, you got to go where people are, right?
Yeah.
Like
You're
you got to give them
1,000%
what
right.
they want.
Yeah, and I'll be your biggest supporter and I'll be your biggest critic because I think that's going to help you build as a person in the field that you're trying to advance in. I'll let you know, in a nice way that what you're doing isn't working and here's why. And I think with Greenlight is they've passed the baton. I think this is the third time. And every time they've passed it, it's just been to someone who dialed it in and thought that you needed to produce Indy cars because you were in Indianapolis and that was where your heritage was. And they really haven't had someone in there until Vincent came in to look at it and go, well, our castings need a retooling. We got to put bigger tires on the back. We got to do some better things with quality control. But what I have seen, unfortunately, the general public hasn't yet, and I think a lot of it will leak out in the 8th. Some of the stuff they're doing that hasn't been seen, the quality is just unbelievable, from the tires that rotate, the turn in the front, to the opening hoods, to the doors. They have a new premium line that's coming out. And I still think they're probably a year away, maybe even 2. And I think if it's one thing that I can rub off on an influence to that brand is it's how important design is, how important it is to connect with your user from the shelf before they pick it up. I mean, that's just the reality of where we are as a collectible space. You get a peg. It's either in the middle, it's either on the top or on the bottom. It's like the grocery store. The good cereals are in the middle. The rest of them are on the crap is on the bottom. So if you have that retail space, or if you don't, you got to make sure your packaging is just on fire. You got to make sure there's a call to action. You got to make sure that people understand. And those things take time. Look, it's great designers are they're not a dime a dozen. It's not It's not like the old days when like Mattel had, 5 or 6 stellar designers, and you knew what a Larry Wood car was based upon something, or a Michael Harolda car based upon some on the package. Like there's so much static out there now, and as great as AI, sometimes it actually makes you not as intelligent because you kind of dial stuff in. So you really got to dial in that packaging and that brand and consistency. That's the one advice that I would give Greenlight is if you look at Mattel, if you look at Matchbox, they call it out with their colors. They call it out. If you see something blue, it's a Hot Wheel. If you see something orange, it's a Matchbox. Now, like for example, Greenlight, it's like this is one of their new pieces, right? It's cool. It's got a vibe, but at the end of the day, the consistency, it needs to be in the packaging, and that would be my advice to them is they got to dial that in so everything looks the same except for one element that maybe goes down the middle. Hot Wheels does a great job with the logo in the middle. Matchbox the same thing. So I think that their castings over the next year and a half are going to speak for themselves. You're going to see this stuff at hobby stores and be like, I can't believe Greenlight has gone from here to here, but it's a process. The packaging needs to get stepped up. They did a great job with their G-Pack that hasn't seen the stores yet in the United States. That was what the Lowrider was in. Nobody's seen that yet. When that starts hitting stores, when that starts hitting shelves, but that's any brand. It doesn't matter who it is. They have to really up their game because everybody else is. If you look at brands coming in the space, right? You got Inno64, right? You got Kato. Like these brands are coming full speed. Even Jada, I saw some of their new stuff. Looks great. Love the package with the acrylic cutout, and then it has the card art with the Porsche on it and the vet or whatever it was.
The Majorette collab, Jada and
Yeah,
Majorette.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I just grabbed one in store. I would never grab a Majorette. I
Ever.
grabbed the NSX. I was like, man, that's sick. I'm getting it. And I think Greenlight has that potential. And we see it with one of your drops. They have that Integra. That's going to be a great casting people are going to want.
Yeah, I hope so. That one we did something really funky with it, and I have to thank Chappie for that. I'll just blow the secret, but it's Morse code on that whole thing. It spells out stuff. So I had some random art designs, just some really cool digital stuff, and then I sent it to Chappie, and he was like, what would be cool? He's like, you should start spelling out some words in Morse code. So instead of circles, I ended up doing the Morse code, and the car says a bunch of stuff. It's pretty cool. That's what I mean about collaboration. I would have never have got there. I knew I wanted it to look digital, and I knew I wanted it to have like a vibe, but the livery on that is just so weird and like cool. Like we did a matte black with a gloss hood with pink graphics and then gloss tires. I mean, it was just bizarre. But it happened, and I think it's going to be cool.
And speaking of Chappie, it kind of goes back to what you were saying before is like you want to get or have your base and kind of have it just organically go from there. I don't know anyone who's a bigger champion of
I know, right?
Neverland than Chappie. How did he kind of assume the brand
I don't know.
ambassador
I mean,
role?
look, we could spend all night, but we'll spend 30 seconds and go down the list. You got the king and the queen. It started with James Bond. I don't know if you were around with James Bond. He was the whatnotter that would come in and just go gong show crazy and overpay for everything and bought me out of the Porsches. I mean, he was nuts. Like we didn't know his real name. I don't think it's James Bond, but he went by it. So okay, we'll go with it. And he was a big spender. And then Ed and Jen came along, the king and queen. That was the Jelly Bean Banger drop. They came in and just bought everything out and went nuts. So we've had some great support and Hitman and Dub G, and I'm sure Matt and Bree when they were on Whatnot, the whole crew. I mean, it was great. The early days we had Phoenix. We just had the whole crew. I was trying to go through them all so I don't forget, but it was just a beautiful kind of group of people who saw what the brand should be, and they wanted to do their best to get it out there. And Chappie, I don't even know. Honestly, this is gonna be. He's gonna punch me in the neck when I see him. I don't remember how we met. Maybe it was a Whatnot thing. I don't know. But Chappie just kind of came into my life. Chappie was Chappie. And he's just a big supporter. And you know what? What I love about Chappie, you don't have to buy a Neverland. Sharing a post or commenting, it warms my heart just as much as seeing the Shopify go off. Literally. Like, I love that. I love seeing somebody new. I love your product. Something. I mean, it's just a cool thing. So we are building the tribe, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, Chappie actually sent me a gift, and it was a Neverland piece. So I know he's like,
Was it a
he's like
Vandera?
yeah, it's a Vander.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's my
I
champion.
had one already, but he sent me a different one I didn't have. So
That's nice. Yeah, he's definitely a big champion for the brand, and We appreciate it. And, we've had some Dom and Lizzie. We've had some great ones. I mean, it's just tell you, it's there's so many wonderful people out there, and Melinda, she's been incredible. Do you know Melinda, the scammer slayer? Yeah,
Yeah, Melinda Bly.
and Jovita from Jovita doesn't get enough love up in Canada. We got to get her down here more. She's great. I think it's the cold that keeps everything away. It keeps her inside. No, it's been a cool run, and we've had so many support the stores. We had Oscar and that whole crew from House of Cars, right? They've been a big supporter. We're doing a collab with them on the lowrider that they're going to announce, which I kind of sort of just did. So we're doing an exclusive for them that's going to be coming out in I think October, November, and that's like a Joker colorway. It's purple and green. It's super cool. So it's just been so much love and support, and oh, we can't forget about the New Mexico crew too. I don't know if you've been on Facebook, but Stephanie and that whole crew is insane. They're just not. There's no words. Kinsey, Christine. I mean, there's so many. I can go on for days, but I love it. And you, now you're a big supporter.
Yeah,
Dropping a
well,
comment, dropping a heart. Let's go.
I'm all about supporting the good people. So I'm massive into supporting the good people in the community, shunning the bad ones because there are bad ones, just like everything. But if you shun them and they'll eventually go away. That's kind of my thought. So, yeah. And then when I met you in Vegas, you and your whole team was just so not upsetting, accepting
Oh
of me.
yeah.
I was just one of the boys in there. And so yeah, that just further cemented like it's one of the good ones in the community. There's no chip on the shoulder. He's just one of the
No.
boys.
Yeah, man.
So
You hit a certain age, you get to 50, all that crap goes away. Like literally, it does. You just look at life very, very differently, man. It's a different vibe. But I will tell you now that you mention it, the we don't advertise or do much on Facebook. It's just our product shows better. It feels like on Instagram. It just always felt that way. It's telling a story through pictures. So we made a decision at the beginning to focus energy and time there, and we recently turned on the share to Facebook button, when you post. And dude, I just can't get over the amount of cest and cancer and just downright crap that's on Facebook that comes back. And it doesn't matter if you're giving somebody something for $1. It's like they're gonna find a way to come back at you and be angry about something. And we've made some really, really great connections on Facebook, but the ones that don't get it when you try to get it, try to help them understand it, they seem to get more angry. And it's really weird when you look at it. It's both a meta product, but when you look at the difference of telling a picture through a story versus a price, boy, it's a hard pull. But I will say we did something very interesting, and this will be a first on your podcast. We wrote from our technology end, we wrote an AI agent that responded to comments on Facebook. And it did it in such a way that it would scrape the comment, and we wrote an AI agent that basically went in, it looked at their profile, it saw their interest, it saw the last few posts, it put a temperature on how they were as a personality, and then it tried to converse with them in a very unassuming way. And it said that it was a AI agent. His name was George, and we said, you're speaking with George, the Neverland AI agent. We actually had 4 people who apologized, changed their mind, and made a purchase. And we had one guy, which we made an AI video about, that continued to argue with the AI bot even after knowing, and it told him, "Sir, I am not real. I am reading your profile and responding to you based upon how I was programmed." He just kept going in. He just
is
kept
that
going
Denny
in.
Poo?
That was Denny Poo. And it was like 150, $55. I can get a whole case of Hot Wheels for that. He went ham on us. And it was like, dude, no, listen, there's 192 pieces. They're packed, inspected, tamper-proof in the United States. All of our boxing is done here. The printing is done here. There's an extra cost to that. It's just the way it goes. We're not putting out 5,000 pieces. Didn't want to hear it. And then it just turned into him posting photos of his custom 18-wheeler that he customized. And it's like, this is worth more. But the best part is I would go in at the end of the week, hit a button, run the comments, and I would just sit there and I would read how it was reacting. It went off the rails once or twice, but I had to calm it down. I was like, dude, remember, we're a brand. Don't get out of control. When it started flinging some borderline insults, we had to dial back George a little bit. But it was an experiment. It was a social experiment to see how these people would react to information, polite. We weren't asserting ourselves. We were saying this is what makes it a Neverland. the beautiful thing is there's a price range for everybody. If you want Hot Wheels and you love that, awesome. We have some too. If you love Inno 64 and whatever, that's great. But to take time out of your day and come and try to just justify why you're not going to pay $55, I think it's better spent somewhere else. There's more constructive things to do. So that was an interesting thing, the stark difference between Facebook and Instagram. I don't know if you're seeing the same thing. Do you go on Facebook a lot?
But yeah, Facebook's bad. I will say Facebook's not near as bad as Reddit. I don't even go to Reddit anymore for diecast.
Okay.
Facebook's like above Reddit, below Instagram,
Okay.
and then there's Instagram where it seems like most everyone's supportive for some reason. So
And I think you have a different way of telling a story on each platform. And the thing that just blew my mind is like your name is there, your photo's there, where you live, not necessarily where you live, but a lot of information is about, I don't know if I would like make myself look like that in public. And I'm thinking, well, let's let George educate him a little. So George was programmed, but he's very intellectual with all brands of diecasts. And he could spit any knowledge back at you. I think Chappie even tried him, and it went back with his nickname, and it found out a lot of stuff about Chappie that Chappie didn't know he had on the internet. So this is what I mean about infusing tech and embracing things like AI to use it in a good way to really inform people about your product without having to take, 10 hours out of a day and have your anxiety go up and your blood pressure because somebody's arguing with you about the price of your diecast. You get it or you don't. You can move on. There's other stuff to buy.
so I don't know if you want to talk about this or not, but there is one thing I've noticed, and that is you have a lot of haters. It
Really?
kind of goes into, oh, well, I'm talking about Denny Pooh and just people that are like Neverland, and you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Just people who love to hate. Why do you think? I mean, you're a nice guy. You have a great product. It's a cool product. It looks great. I
I
think you're
think
doing
it's
good in the community. Why do people love to hate on Neverland?
I haven't seen much other than Danny Pooh and two or three others. And I'll honestly tell you what it is. People are afraid to change. People are afraid to embrace. If you're collecting something for 30 plus years and you're used to spending $1 to $2 and flipping it for $6, that's where you live. That's your area. That's your square. That's where you dance. It's where you hang. If you're not open to seeing what else is out there, you're immediately going to hate what you don't understand. It's just the way it works. If you took time, like perfect example, those 4 people that changed their mind, they ended up buying our product. One of them actually sent an apology and said he had been drinking the night before and was sorry that he commented that way. Now, look, did I change his mind? No, George did, right? But we were smart enough to program George to be compassionate and say, listen, you don't understand it, but let me tell you why it's worth what it is. And $55 is a lower end piece for Neverland price wise, right? I mean, even at the convention there was stuff that was $100 that was factory produced. And I know it's shocking for some because they're used to spending $1 to 25, but those are pieces that are 5,000, 1,500. We're not quite there. And if we do, our price could come down. We could put out a $30 line. That's totally conceivable. We want to hit that, but we're just not there right now. So I think people don't understand. So their immediate knee-jerk reaction is to hate people's success. And I think that's just what it is. When you see a small brand like this literally come out of nowhere, we had a line over an hour deep at SuperCon 2 years in a row to start it. We had VIP parties. We had, big energy drinks. We had all sorts of stuff that big brands not necessarily could do that quickly because there's so much red tape. If we feel something and we look and go, it's probably a good idea. Sometimes it sucks, but that's okay. You got to take the kick in the shins with the high fives. It's just the way it goes. And so to those people, I would say, if we're not for you, that's cool. There's other brands out there, but we're just trying to put out a product that gives people an alternative. It's like the AMG, right? This is what Vincent from Greenlight said to me. We're going to do something where the Neverland portion of it becomes the AMG. It's going to have a higher price tag, and it's not going to be for everybody. But the one thing we all have in common is we do love diecasts. We do love the community. There's some people we don't like. There's some people that we have a different taste for. But you know what? At the end of the day, we're all collectors, and we're all here for the same reason. Like you said, you love JDM. I'm a huge JDM fan now. That's something that I grew into from being in the space. I wasn't very familiar with it until the last 2 years. And people hate what they don't get. So I think they got to open up their minds a little bit and see that there's another way of going about this for a line of collectors that are looking for just a little bit more. They're looking for a little bit smaller community. They're looking for designs that are a little bit funkier and collabs with Rock Kicker and with things that might not necessarily hit the main shelves for big brands. So that's where I would leave it. Yeah.
Yeah, and So a couple of things I want to touch upon is like the Denny Poos of the world.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they forget when they buy a Super Treasure Hunt or a Black Chase aftermarket, they're paying $50 plus for it, you know. So why not get a beautiful hydrochrome? I mean, dude, the lowrider you guys put out,
Thank you.
everybody was like, that is insane. I've got to have it. You should have made a million of them. They would all sold. But
I know.
speaking of which, we did a vote, and I think black and green or something won. When are we going to see those?
So those are in production right now. Actually, make sure you have one of the first ones. How's that?
Hey, that sounds good to me.
But if I see it on eBay, I'm gonna write down your number. You're gonna be Denny Poo Part 2.
I'm not going to lie. When he was raging in the aisle, I was like, no way. He's raging?
Dude, honestly, the best thing is OpenAI has given me some of the greatest ideas based upon reality. It like, what is a quintessential, what are key things quintessential diecast collectors say? Where what do they eat? What do they do? What do they wear? And it comes back with a list and you're going, okay, I could turn this into a prompt, and it was not for you, I promise you that. But we will get you. I want to see it on your display case in the back, but I will send you one of the first ones. And if you want the black one, we can send that.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be
Absolutely.
back there. I never get all these are, well, most of these are gifts.
Well, you're
I
gonna have
never,
another one. All right, maybe two.
all right. Well, it'll definitely be there. And then I still have my pink one that you and your brother Marcus signed. And we actually have a second pink one, which we'll talk about not here, but there's something coming in the pipeline with the second pink one, actually, when the video drops. So if you're watching this, keep an eye out on maybe Instagram. And we'll drop that there. Now, let's talk about those clips on Instagram because they were absolutely hilarious.
Thank you.
I know there was some AI in there. There was some doing
Yeah.
your own thing. Let's talk about where the birth of that started because I just was like on your profile looking for a new one to drop.
So we have a bunch queued up, and I'm gonna break it here. Dub G is next. WG Diecast. William Goodboy. It's spot on. I just finished his. It's a process. It's not as easy as going to Veo 3 and which is the AI creator and typing in make this. You can do that and have fun and get a couple cool clips, but you got to understand editing, sound design. I mean, everything that you listen to, it's a clip that was created, that was downloaded, that was then brought into an editing program, sound corrected. I used another program to make the follies, which is like some of the sounds and some of the expressions. And I went to Suno and I used that to make soundtracks for each one. So there's a full day of work into a lot of this stuff. It's a labor of love, and it just hit me over the head. It was a buddy of mine. I'm gonna name drop. He was on the Whatnot, Jim McGorman, who's in the Goo Goo Dolls, and we were talking. And he was telling me about this new AI stuff that he was working on for videos. He's like, dude, you're not going to believe this. So he showed me some of the stuff. And I was like, it's cool, Jimmy. I'm like, but can you like push it? And he's a music guy and I'm the video guy. That's why we work so well together. And I was like, bro, I just feel like your stuff is good, but you got to just like crank that dial. Like you got to make it funny. So I went to the site and I bought a bunch of credits and I started rendering, and I was like, they're not consistent. So it took me a full day how to figure out how to make that consistent. And then I just started like going crazy. Like, wouldn't it be funny if we had like the most epic collector in the world? And then like kind of profile him a little bit like James Bond, profile him a little bit like Ed, right? There's like a lot of Ed in there. I mean, Ed was a big supporter, still is. So we were kind of going back and forth with this, like, what does he need to look like? And the first one was a little too nerdy. That was a commercial that was with the girl in the dinner. He opens up the Neverland box. And so I was like, you got me a ring? No, I got you a Neverland. Babe, but it's a Neverland. It's not a toy car, right? So it just started coming in. So when I finished that, it was like 3 a.m. I was like, needs to be cooler. I'm like, vibe's not working. It was like, slick back his hair. Gold chain. I was like, that's it. Done. So we got the hair slicked back and he became freaking cool. And it was like, okay, this guy's dope, and he needs to be surrounded by cool things. And then the taglines just kept coming, like literally, like Neverland, it's not a toy car. Neverland, even our collectibles are one of a kind. Neverland, like it just kept coming in my head. Like we need a tag for everything that we could pull out at some point and put on a T-shirt. That's where my marketing mind goes. So there's a whole line of T-shirts dropping with those tags, but it just became a thing, and it was literally laughing so hard that it's 4 in the morning, and I'm sure my wife is in the other room saying, "What is going on? And who's he talking to?" But your mind just takes it to these places, and you're almost getting instant gratification within 30 seconds of writing that prompt. And it costs money every time you write them. So if you screw up and you gotta, you can spend $600 in the snap of a finger trying to get something, and you're gonna be lucky to get a couple thousand views on it. Like some of them are $50 to make, some of them are $700, but it's not about the money, it's about the creativity and how far I could press it. So it just happened. It was one of these things where we had this drop coming up with Vincent and Greenlight, and I was like, the world needs something different. We need something funny. Like everybody's doing your quintessential unboxing videos or something. Like why not just create these fake personas that are loosely based off of our collectors, right? And then we'll throw it out there and be like, hey, what do you think of this? And then it evolved, but we have a lot dropping, and maybe there'll be one for you. You never know. But yeah, I couldn't have got to that point if I wasn't where I came from the art world, from the video editing world, from the marketing, from the music. It all just played in. It was like, it needs a soundtrack. Like if you listen to the one with Denny Poo, like really listen to those lyrics. It's like four concrete walls staring back at me. And when I wrote that, my prompt was something like, a very sad Hot Wheel collector who just lost out on all the chases at Walmart. He lives downstairs from his mother, and he's alone. And I'm like, don't use the word diecast, don't use the word Hot Wheel, don't use this, don't use that. Boom. And then 3-4 renders, and I get that masterpiece. And it was like heart. It's like, I'll listen to that now. It's like four walls staring back at me, talking about the guy's depression because his mom's making a meatloaf. I mean, it just hit. It hit. And that, it did well. And then the most interesting, most epic collector, that one's up around 500,000 views already. I mean, that thing took off. So that's where it comes from, man.
I think those videos are the greatest thing you've done since
Thank you.
the lowrider.
Thank
And
you.
hopefully we get some more greatest things since the videos. But man, I was just like every day just checking like when's the next one.
They're queued up. They're queued up. Danny Poo.
So you kind of touched on it a little bit, and that was your packaging, because we talked about Hot Wheels packaging, Matchbox, how it's all done. What's kind of your process for designing that? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to get at?
It's a great question. It started with the first drop where we ended up spending, and some of the other stuff, we actually ended up spending more money on the packaging than the car itself. That's a very common Neverland thing to do, where we just kind of take the reins off and go gong show when we probably should rein it in a tiny little bit. But the first car we got in was the Porsche, and we got it and we held it. We're like, this is amazing. But it doesn't have that full, like, again, keep in mind, I knew nothing about the diecast space on that first drop. Like, when I say nothing, I'm saying, like, maybe I could tell you that there were, like, Hot Wheels, Matchbox. I didn't know any other brands. So we got this car in, and it was, like, gorgeous. And it just did something to my senses. I was, like, on overload. It must have been the way the sun hit it or something. And I was like, but how are we delivering these things? Because that was a mail order only. That first drop with the pandas and the apes, that was only done by mail. Then we ended up getting into something called the Solana Spaces. It was 2 stores, New York and Miami. So I was like, we got to have a Miami vibe. There needs to be something that's so high end that people are going to feel it before they open it. And so I think I was opening up, I don't know, an Apple product or something, and there was a soft touch box, and it just hit me. And I was like, it has to be soft touch spot with some foil on it. So we were down in Miami, and there was a vendor down there who did like all the custom boxes for like the Hard Rock vodka companies. We went to see them, and we brought the product, and we just started vibing. And I'm like, look, I don't want this thing to be this, but it has to be this. And the next thing you know, dude, we're at like $9 a box. I mean, it was just ridiculous. And keep in mind, we're only doing 300 boxes of each. So that's the other thing. When you're doing small runs, you're inherently going to be up on the price on everything. So it was a touch, feel, looky thing where I got it, and it was like, this is beautiful, but it's not beautiful enough. And that's pretty much how everything happens. It's like everything from the tissue paper to the sticker to the tag to the little chain that goes around it. Every single time, it's like we're adding another quarter here, we're adding another dollar here. And that seems to be why they get up there pretty quickly in prices. But I feel it's so necessary with a boutique brand right? It's like you just can't throw it in Staples box or a Walmart box and throw some duct tape on it. It's just not going to work. So it just has to be a full 360 package. And I think that's where we've done a really good job with putting that packaging together. And just when you think you got it figured out, you're like, oh, we forgot to do the tag for the back, and we can't put it on regular sticker paper. We should find holographic sticker paper. And I did buy a lot of the machinery to do that. So a lot of the stuff that used to cost hundreds of dollars, now we can do for tens of 20s because we can do small runs in the garage or at my brother's place at the lab. So there's things that we've done to kind of bring that cost down, but it's a full 360. When you're holding something, I want it to feel as valuable as what's inside. That's really what it comes down to.
And that's a great point, because a lot of times when you get a car, any car, you're not really holding the car, you're holding the packaging. So if the packaging feels like junk, then your perception of said product could be maybe it's junk. Or if you're, it's like you brought up, like opening an Apple product, there's just something about it that's like, it's
Dude,
soothing. It's like ASMR, I don't know.
it's like the smell too. Like Apple products, it's like just feels fresh and new and expensive. There's no other way to describe it. But you walk in that store and you're like, I don't care what it costs. I'm gonna get the new iPhone. I'm gonna get the new iPad. I'm gonna get the garbage can. I'm gonna get it all. And they've got you in through their senses. So I think a lot of our package and branding has just come from real life experience of kind of being traveled really and seeing what's out there. But that's what I mean. It's like it's not really we're not really a diecast company. Like I don't consider ourselves. It's like we're giving an experience. We're creating a luxury boutique brand. It's not going to be for everybody, man. But the ones that get it, oh, they get it. You know, and they tell their
So,
friends.
so what kind of, I know you said you're mainly a tech company that you stumbled into Diecast. I mean, obviously, it sounds like before you got into it, you didn't know much about it. What kind of drew you into Diecast, or, like
I
how?
I was in Miami and we were at this place called the Supercar Showroom in Miami, and they had $1 million cars everywhere. And I saw how people were so passionate. And we had some of our technology actually. And Justin Kahn, who's the founder of Twitch, the original founder, we did a QR sticker for the back of his Tesla that West Coast customized. So we were part of that process with Neverland, where we did a digital representation of Justin's car. And when he would take it to events, people would tap the back insignia that said Neverland. You can see it. It's on a West Coast Customs episode. And it says Neverland, and there's a circle. If you hold your phone up to it, it's like a Providence proof. Like I was here at the event and I saw Justin's car. And that was literally how the idea came about, where it's like, well, look, it's not every day that we're going to get to put our tech onto $500,000 custom builds. But imagine if we could take it and we can scale it down, because those little cars, man, they're equally as impressive with how you can take something that's this big, make it this big, and have it turn and be an exact replica. So it just happened that it was, I don't know, I saw a Hot Wheel literally at, I was in Burbank with Ryan from West Coast, and we were in his conference room, and I saw a Hot Wheel, and I remember thinking it would be cool to try to stuff tech in there. And I don't know, it's your surroundings, and then going, like, no one has that kind of money, but they appreciate it when they see it enough to tap it and say, I saw it. So it really just came to mind from so many different ways, and didn't happen overnight, man. It was 3-4 years in the making, and it just finally hit. And I think we're still evolving as a business. There'll be other stuff we put our tech into, but it just kind of happened that way, looking at cars, being around them.
So everything you do, everything you touch seems to turn to gold, so to speak. The cars, they look great.
Thank you.
Seems like they're doing great. In Vegas, I was talking to Hitman, and I had him get me a couple of the energy drinks. By the
Yeah,
way, they're amazing. How did that come about?
I saw a billboard. This is how it came about, truthfully. I was driving home on Route 75 and I saw a billboard. I said, it'd be cool someday to have an energy drink on that billboard. And literally, that's how it came about, where I went home and started researching. And I'm like, how do we get boutique runs? We only need like 144 cans. They're not cheap, but most of the times people don't drink them, but they do. I just got another shipment in, but they all went out. I was going to say we could crack one, but it literally just was like a marketing thing. It was like, look, we're not going to retire off of making energy drinks, but we'll put it in somebody's hand. And we actually ran a bunch of billboards on 75 in Florida. And it was just the scummy head poking out, like staring at you with a giant QR with the website. and it just to get people interested in what we were doing. Like, hey, what is that? And it was a marketing idea that turned into, you know, 500-600 energy drinks sold without lifting a finger and trying. It was just an add-on. It just felt like it was supposed to be. You look at these cars and they're high energy, and everything we're doing, even my personality sometimes is just high energy. So it felt like it was like, I need to see that on a billboard. And then I have pictures. It was pretty cool. We ran the campaign for about a month, and it was just like feeling scummy. Like, that was it. And it just came to be. So we added product to fit what we were doing, and kind of the lifestyle, really, right? The big scummy lifestyle. That was it. Came from inspiration of driving. Weird.
So next time you get more, I'm gonna need to know about it so I can snag some.
Any flavor you would like to see?
I'm a big orange cream guy.
Like an Orange Julius, kind of, sort of?
Yeah, kind of.
Have you ever had an Orange Julius, or are you too young for that?
No, we still have an orange Julius here, believe it or not.
No, you do not.
Yeah, it's like, I think it's mixed in with a Dairy Queen, but
Probably the last one in the United States. The
it's
best.
still here.
Grew up on them. Yeah,
Yeah.
we could do an Orange Crush. Yeah, that would be cool. But yeah, it just felt right to bring it into high energy stuff. We love doing stuff like that. You know, it's not a money maker. We're losing money on it, but we're gaining some serious eyeballs. Like, what are these guys doing? This is so cool, right? And that's marketing. That's advertising your brand and getting people in, right? So they're not all going to be home runs. Get a couple singles in there, you're good.
Well, the energy drink's a home run in my book. So
Thank you.
we'll just tell the people, keep an eye on the website. What's the website? It's Never Labs.
It's shopnvr.com, and we're gonna get some new flavors up there. Maybe we'll get the Ragin' Orange Julius, but we'll spell it differently so we don't get sued. I like it.
No copyright.
No.
But keep an eye on the website, because I'm kid you not, one of the best energy drinks I've ever had, and I consider
Thank you.
myself quite the connoisseur of energy.
Did you have it
drinks, so-
cold? You had it cold. It must have been cold.
No, it was warm and it was great.
Really? Well, it's natural sugar, so I should probably tell you that. We spent the extra 10 cents to get natural sugar rather than the cheapo fake crap. That's why.
Yeah. It was beautiful, man. So and then the next thing, let's talk Scummy Bear. How did that come about? Obviously, you're the pink Scummy. What is Scummy? What's the Scummy lifestyle?
It was just, honestly, it was growing up, man. Remember the crash test dummies? Remember, not the group, but way before in the 80s, they had the dummies that they used in their advertising, and they put them in the car. And remember, that was the logo on their head. You probably remember that.
Yeah.
And that was literally it. We were watching YouTube or something, and the crash test dummy commercial was on. It was like, only you can prevent something. It wasn't forest fires, but it was something like that. And it was like this old dummy that they put in the car, and he cracked up, and I remember seeing the symbol, and it just came, man. It was like, it's a crash test Scummy. So it's really called a crash test Scummy, and it was just this bear that ended up evolving into really who we are as far as fun and light, and just something that a lot of brands don't have the luxury of doing, because I think there's too many governors on them to say no. And so we get to try stuff, and we get to fail, and we get to come back and say, well, that didn't work, but let's try it this way, because we don't have a board of 50 executives sitting there telling us that we can't make AI videos because it's going to go against company policy, right? We just do it. And if we have to apologize, we go, hey, send out George, right? give him the old AI response. But no, that's where it benefits. We're just, Mark and I, my brother Marcus and I, we started this business with one thing in mind. Honestly, it's like, we just want to be brothers, have fun, and do this together. It's literally it, man. It's like, I don't know if you have any siblings, but there's nothing more rewarding in this world than working with your brother and not beating the crap out of each other every single day, and having a shared. He's 51, 52, I'm 50. Like, we're not spring chickies. We're getting up there. The fact that we've managed to do this, he's down in Florida full time now. He moved down here. He quit his job to do this, and you know, I transitioned my career to this, and that's really it. If I can go through this another 15 years working with my brother every single day, man, I'll be so happy. And continuing to build this community. Look, at you and I never would have connected. In what planet would you and I have connected? I don't know where I would have met you. Maybe at Orange Julius?
You're at the last Orange Julius in the world.
You know what, dude? We can't forget the Clement brothers. We got to rewind for a second. You got to edit this in. Dan and Scott, as I'm sitting here talking, geez, man, those guys are absolutely fantastic. I'm sure you know them very well, but they have been a huge part of what we're doing. We just did a drop for them. We just did a custom drop for them, and that's what made me think of this.
Silverados?
We did the Silverados, yeah. But point being, they're brothers. We're brothers. We have this cool bond, man. And I see a lot of us and them, and vice versa. And I think they would agree too. Is no one better than you take this journey with a brother, you know? So yeah.
It was actually my first time meeting them in the Neverland room in Vegas, and yeah, see, so you brought us all together. But you could see those everyone who associates with you just seem very, very genuine, very real, and I think that's what draws the people in. And it seems like that draws the good people in because there's not one person who's associated or likes or wants to be associated with Neverland that I wouldn't want to associate with. It seems like
Yeah,
it's just a good group of people.
we're a little bunch of degenerate, quirky collectors who really find the good and are great people, man. Like I've had conversations with Chappie, and I've had conversations with Ed and Jen and Dan, and just like they're my family, you know. Like I met them and we had lunch a few months back, and I don't think we even talked about Diecast much. We just talked about life, and that's why I knew it was such a great bond. And I brought my wife up, and we just chilled. And those are the connections that you want to pull out of this, you know. And it's as we get older, man, it doesn't get easier. I'll tell you that, because people have different objectives and motives as to why they want certain things. But the true ones have definitely made their way to Neverland. I'll tell you that much. The real ones, as I like to say. And maybe it's because we are at $55 a car. I don't know. Let's go up to 100. I don't know.
You weeded out the Denny poos.
Wait, Denny's gone, man. Denny Boo's gone.
Stick and George had to piece
George
him
gotta
up.
go. Gotta go, man.
Did you want to dive into design more, or?
Yeah, I mean, look, we can leave design with this. I think for everybody has creativity in them. Some people are just afraid to put the mouse pad down in Photoshop and see what their mind can create, you know? And I'll say if anybody is on the fence about designing or something that they wanted to try, like there's so many tools nowadays with AI that can help you think in a way that pertains to the right way to design. And I don't mean right because it's in your mind. I mean technically, right? Like Photoshop technically or Illustrator technically. One thing that people should understand is when you hand over a design like this, which you can't see, when you hand it over to the manufacturer, there's so many technical things. It has to be an Illustrator if it's going to be pad printed. It's 4-color process versus spot color. Like all those tools that are available now with AI, they can really make you a smart designer with going, hey, I need to prepare a file for a tampo print versus a water slide. What's the difference? And how do I prepare my file? What DPI does it need to be? So there's all these like cool technical things. Or if you're not unsure about a time period, there was some things on the lowrider where I used it to confirm I wanted to do the space justice and not use something that wasn't representational of the lowrider heritage. So I really went in and built a data sheet of what was acceptable that wouldn't be necessarily offensive. I didn't want to put something on that design that I liked that was just weird overall, like a certain brand or a design or a twirly or swirly. I didn't know, right? So what I did is I really used it in my design to make myself aware of the boundaries that I should kind of constrain to and not go too far out. The skull, obviously, it's a very low rider thing. The roses, the cross, but all those things just kind of came to me without having to go in and expand. And then I put it together in Illustrator, and then it just worked with my animator. We threw it on the car, and it just came to life, and it was like, this is it. So I think the message would be to don't be afraid to just try it. What's the worst thing that happens? You go back in 5 years after you're doing it for a profession, you go, wow, that was my first render. That was my first time in Blender. That was my first time in Photoshop. Look at how far I've come, right? I don't think there's enough of that. I think people sometimes are too afraid to fail, where me, I'll just throw enough crap against the wall, and sometimes it sticks, and sometimes it Denny poos down, and you're like, okay, back to the drawing board. But that's the way I see it. So, and we need more designers. We need, this space really does. I mean, look, you know who's fantastic? I love is Lee Allen. Lee Allen's a great drawer, great designer. Mike Wilmot, Geraldo, all those guys are fantastic. We need more of those coming up from the bottom who just aren't afraid to be a pioneer in the space. We need some young youth that comes in and just starts hand drawn. I mean, we've gotten so far away from that because of all this AI stuff, but we do need those artists to enter this space to really shape it for the next 30, 40 years. And I'm starting to see it with Neverland, because I think what we do is we open up to a younger audience because of the tech end of things. But I will say that more is definitely needed. More is needed.
What's the big vision with Neverland? Where do you want to see yourself in 5, 10 years? What's the overall goal?
I think ultimately would be 1 to 2 castings a month. What I would love to do, and this is what Marcus and I are working on now, we're always going to have what we call the Sweet 16. It's 12 sleeves of 12. I think it comes out to 192 pieces. Maybe it's 48. I don't know whether the math is hard, but I always want to take 192 pieces, make them hydrochrome, give them the Neverland spit shine, oil on the packaging, possibly soft touch, the NFC, the whole nine. That 192 will always be kind of at that higher price point. But then what I want to do is take that same line and produce, let's say, 900 of them, 9 something. And I want to make those not in hydrochrome. They would be a unique custom mixed color, like maybe something high metallic or something that's only exclusive to Neverland. And I do want to start getting those out to hobby stores, and I want to have a price line of about $30, $35 retail, but I want to have closer to 900 or 1,000 pieces. That would be the ultimate goal, setting up distribution for that, coming up with the infrastructure to tag all those. I mean, at the end of the day, everything is still getting finished here in the United States. So there's a potential to create more jobs here. There's a potential to create a lower price tier without compromising the quality at all. It's just the paint color. It's all it is. If you love hydrochrome and you want to spend the extra money, be one of the first 192. If you still want to get involved with Neverland because you love our designs, you love our castings, you love everything we're doing, you can go to the hobby store and pick it up for 30, 35 bucks, which kind of feels like it would be at the higher end of like what's a Kato, like 25 bucks, 30 bucks. If you go to their website, it's more. But that would be the vision, is to really work with Greenlight or manufacturers to come. What's great about Greenlight is what maybe some of your listeners know, but maybe some of them don't know. It's like, in order to get something, someone has to hold the license. The factory doesn't hold the license. So you can call any factory and give them enough money, they'll make whatever they want. The important thing is to have an officially licensed product that you can go out and use that to do other things with, right? So Greenlight has a lot of licenses. Most of these manufacturers, not the factories, but brands, they do have quite a bit of license. Porsche is really hard to get. Ferrari, as you know, is almost impossible. So there's some of these that are going to be harder to get. Doesn't mean they're impossible, but I would want to work with a company that we could actually help as well. And that's why someone like a Greenlight feels like it fits that mold, because they're at a stage, in my opinion, that needs to be pumped up. And I think they need to work on some packaging and some other stuff. Manufacturing is really dialed in, but there's just stuff that I think we could help with to elevate their game, which would then give us the ability to really tack on and elevate our game. The goal would be to find a strategic partner like that who really comes to the table and says, look, we'll give you 192 pieces. We'll do 800 pieces. You're going to have a hard time finding that. So that would be the end goal, is to get on a cadence and to literally have a drop or two every single month. Get in a cadence to have a Halloween car or a Christmas car done, right? To know that, get ready, here's sneak peeks of the Neverland Christmas car, here's what it's going to look like, the ugly sweater car, let's go, and start hyping people up. But it's really hard. And if you want to know how hard it is, just try finding a manufacturer and try finding the money to produce 1,000 cars. You're going to be shocked at how much red tape there is and how many skills you need to have to get an amazing product. You gotta know how to design. Like I was saying earlier, you gotta know the file formats, Illustrator, the programs. You gotta have a great presentation of the digital product. So the goal would be, we have all the tools, we're ready to go. Now we need to link for good with a manufacturer, and I want to get on a cadence. That's where the 5-year plan looks like. It's not inconceivable to do 2 cars a month. Start with 1. Maybe it's 6 a year to start with for the first year, and then we ease into 1 a month. But I think we're building the fan base for it. I don't think we'll have a problem moving out 1,000 units at $30 each, 192 at 55 or 60. I mean, those numbers, based upon how we're growing right now from our brand with Whatnot and with the other sales channels, we could hit that number, and that would be a fun little run. So that's the goal.
Yeah.
Some hobby stores I would do very exclusive. I would probably pick 24 hobby stores across the United States, and I would have very close working relationships where we're able to go see them. We're able to organize events with them. House of Cars New Mexico, perfect example. Oscar, he's a G. The guy's amazing. I would love to do a drop with them where we fly out, we do a special signing, stuff like that. Keep it very boutique, even though there's still 1,000 pieces. That's where I see this in the next 2 to 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's totally doable for you as well. A couple of things that I do want to touch on is chase pieces. Are you still doing them? Have you gotten away from chase pieces? Would the higher end line almost be like the chase piece of that?
Great. Another great question. You've done your homework. So on this drop, there's 192 pieces, and there is going to be 12 chases each on this one. Okay. So the chase has they have neon pink wheels and a couple other little things on them from this run. I think the packaging's a little different with a holographic. So we had to retweak our model a tiny little bit because we're now going into manufacturing. Before, when we were just doing customs, you do 20 cars, 2 chases, 1 unicorn, which is the one of one, and those unicorns were going for like $500-600. It was insane. So we're still going to have that model, but as we go into the production world, we're going to keep it, way under on the bigger stuff, 5%ish, 2 to 5%. And then on like the 192, we'll probably throw some zingers in there, like a 10% piece with like maybe a different color change on the tires, maybe a spoiler change, maybe a different tampo on the graphic. Something else I want to tell you too, great segue into this. The new machine that we're getting actually, it'll UV print on the car itself. So one thing that we're thinking about doing is having a Whatnot series where the chase that you win or the car that you win, we're going to actually either put your name, Dukes of Hazzard style on the hood in cursive, or something special that you want printed literally on the car. And it looks just like the factory. So what we would do is ahead of time, we would have a tampo made that fits the cars in, let's say 12 at a time. And then the file gets set up, and let's say you win spot number 5 and Chappie wins spot 6, and you say, I want mine to say Ragin, and Chappie's like, I want Chaplin. So we can literally right then and there, the machine goes on, prints it, and then what's even cooler is in the metadata, when you scan it, it says in the metadata the type of car, the year, the make, and then it says belongs to or purchased on Whatnot stream, name Raging. So those are things that we're going to do that kind of sort of like enhance the chase experience, because it's going to give you a chance to personally hold on to that piece forever. Like guys like you and Chappie kind of hold their stuff, like his Neverland stuff. He's not going to sell that. But there might be people that are like, we don't want to just leave it as it is or just put something different on it, right? But we're giving them that option to really enhance the chase. So we're not just concentrating on making like, let's do a standard chase. Let's do a chase on steroids. Let's do something that's big, scummy energy, crazy, that we can get people even more excited about because they dropped $150 on Whatnot. So let's give them the added value. And this printer it's next level stuff. And that allows us to do it here without having to spend tens of thousands of dollars to send it out to do it elsewhere,
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what sets Neverland apart is doing things that have never been done before. And I mean, you can't do that with a Hot Wheels, like that's Mattel. If I'm selling Hot Wheels on Whatnot, if I'm doing say a case break,
Yeah.
and I can't print anything on the car, so it's just that you're paying $60 or $80 or whatever it is, and you get that personalized, like I'm part of the family whole vibe. Now, do you have any that was kind of a cool thing. Do you have any other big like teasers or innovation type things that
Yeah,
you
the
want to
Vegas car
incorporate?
this year. The Vegas car this year is it's you're gonna love it, and you'll be trying to sneak into the back room to take it, cases of it, because it's something we've sort of alluded to. But I'm thinking there's going to be 5 up to, not total, up to 5 different versions of it. What Greenlight is working on right now is tooling, which I saw, which it just blew my mind. But they did 5 variations of the casting with body kits, different spoilers, wide stance, different lowered, not lowered. I mean, it was insane. So what we're thinking about doing is seeing if we can pull off a 5 car set, which would be of the same car, different stances, different body kits, different colors. But that's what's kind of top of the line right now for the Vegas show. So that would be the big news, yeah. And I want to do like more than one car this year. Those lowriders, we opened the door 2 hours later, they were gone. We had no idea what to expect. It was never, it was a $60 piece. Looked like a $100 piece when you held it. But
Felt like it too.
it did. Nice and heavy, great packaging. But that's where we just decided. We said this is where it's going to be, and thank God they sold out, and pretty quickly. We're doing another line of lowriders coming out, as you mentioned, but that would be it. I would say that this year in Vegas, I think it's going to be a lot of heads coming and turning at the Neverland booth. Yeah, for sure.
Well, I have my tickets already, so I will definitely
Yes,
be
sir.
there, and I hope to spend more time in the Neverland booth room,
You
whatever
should
you
do a
have this year.
podcast from our booth. You should set up a thing and we can promote you.
We'll
You
do
should
it.
do like maybe a podcast a day at least, and we could help you get with some cool people that maybe you might not have thought of. There might be some cool people that that we're having come visit our booth that might be able to do a little pop pod. I
Yeah.
think that would be cool. I think my buddy Jimmy might be coming down this year, so that would be cool. He's a big car guy, big Porsche guy. So there'd be cool things we could do like that. I'd love to help out any way we could. Even set up that little corner. We could do it as a diecast. We could do it as a raging / whatnot corner. I would be totally down for that if you wanted.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Let's do
Yeah,
something. Because I
yeah.
mean, I got the days off work. I got my tickets. All I need to do is drive there. It's only 12 hours.
Let's freaking go. It's only 3 days for me. Let's go.
What's just some crazy wild idea that you had that we haven't seen yet?
A diamond diecast. I want to hook up with a jeweler and I want to have it completely iced out and spend 30 grand and just do it. That's seriously, that's what I want to do. So maybe this year at SuperCon, if I could find the right person. I know a couple jewelers. It's just seeing if the vision fits. I don't want it to be like cheese bling. It like has to fit the motif. Like I think it needs to be like almost hydrochrome underneath and then the diamonds on it so certain areas almost feel like a gradient fill. So like I kind of got this thing in my head, so it would have to be right, but I think I would love to see a diamond encrusted Neverland and then leave it behind a glass container and have two security guards there. That's what I would love to do. And I mean I might just do it. So that's the idea. Because someone will give me an offer, I'm sure. I don't think I would sell it, but we would be talked about for sure. They'd go, "You see that diamond Neverland piece?"
Yeah.
Right? I think so.
Yeah, I mean, I have a buddy who uses diamonds for headlights, but I don't think he's doing whole cars. So
Real diamonds? Oh,
real diamonds, yeah, he does.
so this must be a fortune.
He sent me a card. He said it was around $1,000. I
For
sent it
two
right
little
back.
diamonds?
There was two in the headlights and one for the fog lights, and then the car was like gold leaf. So I sent it right back. I was too scared, man.
But I'll tell you, that would be something crazy that I want to do that I've never done. Yeah.
You should do it. You should drop it in Vegas. I say we like I have some
Yeah,
part.
you'll be there, so it is we. Yeah, why not? Let's do it.
I'll send you $3 to be a part of it. I don't know.
It'll pay for one of the drill bits. We're good. Let's go.
If you could have a real car be a
hmm
Neverland piece, what car are you picking?
It would be a 550 Spider 1955 Porsche. An original, not a kit car. Probably
Yeah,
it.
I see that.
I think Mattel did one, right? They did a 550, a James Dean one, I think. I remember seeing a box set somewhere. You would know better than me, but I remember it was two of them. It was silver. I don't know if you could even find that car nowadays, but and if you can, what the price is. 550 Porsche Spider. I like old vintage cars. I like stuff that has some history behind it. Muscle cars are great too. I've started to really like the new Mustang that I've been staring at in that Dodge for the last 4 weeks. Let's see how much one of those is. How much is a vintage 550?
My wife also asked me to ask what your favorite car is, but I think it's probably that Porsche, I would guess.
I have a Cayman. That's my favorite car. It's affordable and it's fast and it looks way more expensive than it is. And I got it lowered and I put oversized rims and it's got the treatment. It looks great. It's kind of like design on a dime. I love it. Let's see how much these are going for. See if one is in the future. But yeah, I've always been a Porsche guy. Let's see what these are going for. How about it's a 3.6 mil. Might be a little bit out of the Neverland range. 3.6
Well, we get you to 2 drops a month.
within a year. Yeah. So if it's in good condition, it's 2.9 million. And in case your viewers don't know, it's not sexy by any means. It's just not. But there's history. It's It's James Dean drove one. I mean, come on. So yeah, I think that would be one of them. And then lately, I've been digging some of the EV cars. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I recently threw up in a Tesla, so that was fun. I just can't get over the amount of torque that just throws you back in the seat and pass out style. So that was an interesting run. My brother just got that new Plaid, and it's just ridiculous. So I don't know. I would explore an EV. I love the old Hummers are great cars too. Those are fun.
H1?
Yeah, the H1s. Those are fun to see. And then that's as far as muscle cars. I don't know. I love the old Mustangs. I think those are fantastic. Fastbacks. But yeah, pretty simple guy.
So, for people who are listening who maybe have never heard of Neverland, or maybe they want to get more involved, what's the best way they can get in contact, reach you, connect, join the community?
If you want to talk to the founders and the real ones, at NVR Labs on Instagram. If you want to talk to George, who's going to treat you very fairly, but he is going to be critical, visit us on Facebook. It's the verified, it's the at NVR Labs. And you could leave any comment, and George responds sometimes immediately. But we would love for you to reach out to us directly on Instagram. Say hello. If you want to hit us on email, it's just contact@shopnvr.com. My brother or Mark, we do check that email quite a bit. So if anybody has anything to say, good, bad, indifferent, we're always there. And that's the best way. Instagram is definitely the place to hang, though. We got our crew dialed in there, and you can get first glimpse at all the AI promo videos and see what's coming next there.
And then I always give everyone the opportunity to leave the world with just whatever you want to leave it with. It could be diecast related, not diecast related. What is on Kurt's mind that he just wants to leave the world with?
I'll tell you, man, your perception of life changes after you hit 50. And I will say, tomorrow is not promised. And you got to live every day, literally, not to sound cliche, like it's your last. Do things, be kind to people. It doesn't cost you a penny to smile at somebody. It doesn't cost you a penny to like somebody's post or leave a nice comment, and you don't realize how far, you don't know what that person on the other end of the wire is going through. And just be kind to people. I know sometimes it actually takes more energy to frown than to smile. And it's a tough time for a lot of people right now. But remember, we're in this together. We really are. And just takes nothing to smile. So I want to leave the world with that. Just be kind. It's just sometimes it's harder to be kind for people. I don't know why it is, but it's such a toxic place sometimes. But be kind. Never know what someone's going through, honestly. That's what I've learned since I've gotten older. Just smile and say hi to somebody. Makes a world of difference.
Yeah. And they could be masking their hurt with a smile themselves, and you never know, and you'd never guess it. So I definitely agree with that. And I mean, YOLO, right? You only live once, stinking live it
YOLO.
up,
Let's
baby.
go, YOLO. That's right. That's right.
Well, Kurt, it's been an absolute honor having you on the show. Maybe we'll get a part 2 closer to Vegas. I don't know. We'll see if we can.
I'm thinking we're going to do a part 2 in Vegas, is what I'm thinking. And maybe it'll be a part 3, because I would love to come on your show, send you some samples, and maybe have you show them before they hit the website. That would be super cool for our behalf.
Yeah.
And love to see a rock kicker design hanging on that back wall too. So
It'll be there when it arrives.
All right. Well, I appreciate you, and thanks for extending the offer and the invite. You're doing great things in the space. I hear nothing but wonderful stuff, man.
Well, I appreciate that. You're killing the game, and I appreciate the heck out of you. I love you, buddy.
Love you,
I
buddy.
will see you in Vegas, and I'm sure we will talk very soon.
All right. Thanks.
And absolutely. Let's get it, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Huge thank you to Kurt. Give him a follow. He told you his Instagram, his Facebook. He told you his website. Make sure you check him out. Keep an eye on the website. I'm telling you, you don't want to miss the energy drink drops. They are so good. I'm sorry that's my takeaway is the energy drink drops. He also drops cars on there. I bought some from his site on this last drop. Check him out. Huge thanks to him. I love you guys. See you in Vegas. Peace.
But the board of the team reviews releases exclusive news. Raging Diecast is breaking the news.